Today's lesson is on adding, subtracting, multiplying, and dividing decimals. First, we'll look at adding decimals. So for number 1, we have 2 and 900ths plus 6 and 927 thousandths. When we add decimals, we need to line up our decimal. So for number 1, we'll have 2.09 plus 6.927. Notice that my decimals are lined up. Above the 7, I do not have a number, so to hold that place, I'm going to put a 0. Now I can go ahead and add. 0 plus 7 is 7. 9 plus 2 is 11. Carry my 1. 1 plus 0 is 1, plus 9 is 10. Carry my 1. And 1 plus 2 is 3, plus 6 is 9. Now for my answer, I need to bring my decimal straight down. So I get 9.017, or 9 and 17 thousandths. Now I'm going to look at subtracting decimals. So for number 3, I have 16 and 4 hundredths minus 9 and 223 thousandths. My rule is the same as adding decimals. I need to line up my decimal before I subtract. So I'm going to have 16.04 minus 9.223. I do not have a digit above the 3, so I'm going to put in my 0. And now I'm going to go ahead and subtract. 0 minus 3 I cannot do, so I will borrow from the 4 and make it a 3. And now my 0 is a 10. 10 minus 3 is 7. 3 minus 2 is 1. 0 minus 2 I cannot do, so I will borrow from the 6 and make that a 5. And now my 0 is a 10. So 10 minus 2 is 8. And then 5 minus 9 I cannot do, so I'll borrow from my 1, make it a 0. And now my 5 becomes a 15. So 15 minus 9 is 6. In my answer, my decimal is going to come straight down. So I have 6.817, or 6 and 817 thousandths. Now I'm going to look at multiplying decimals. When I multiply decimals, I do not have to line up my decimal before I multiply. So I'm going to just line up my digits at the end of each number. So for number 5, I have 14.3 times 7.2, or 14 and 3/10 times 7 and 2/10. Sometimes you'll notice the decimals end up being lined up, but they do not have to be. Now I'm going to go ahead and multiply. 2 times 3 is 6. 2 times 4 is 8. And 2 times 1 is 2. For my second row, I need to start with my 0. And then 7 times 3 is 21. 7 times 4 is 28, plus 2 is 30. And 7 times 1 is 7, plus 3 is 10. Now I will add up my numbers. 6 plus 0 is 6. 8 plus 1 is 9. 2 plus 0 is 2. And then I have nothing to add to my 0, so it stays 0. And nothing to add to my 1, so it still stays a 1. Now for my decimal, I have one number after the decimal for my first number I had, and 1 after the decimal for the second number I had. So I have 1 decimal place here and 1 decimal place here for a total of 2 decimal places. So I move over 2 places from the end. 1, 2. So I have 102.96, or 102 and 96 hundredths. Now I'm going to be dividing decimals. So for number 7, I have 4 and 17 hundredths divided by 3/10. So I'm going to go ahead and set this up, and I have 4.17 divided by 0.3. I need to make sure that this number is a whole number. So I need to move my decimal over one place to make it a whole number. Now it's going to be a 3. I also need to then move my decimal on 4 17/100ths over one place as well. So I have 41.7. The decimal in our answer will go straight above, so I'll go ahead and put that in now. Now I can go ahead and divide. 3 goes into 4 one time. 1 times 3 is 3. Going to subtract and I get 1. Now I'm going to bring down my 1. And 3 goes into 11 3 times. 3 times 3 is 9. I will subtract. And 11 minus 9 is 2. And now I bring down my 7. 3 goes into 27 9 times. So I have 9 times 3 is 27. I subtract and get 0, so I am finished with my problem. So my answer is 13.9, or 13 9/10.